him, the gentleman who raced into the scene to disarm one of the gunmen. We're just learning some details about him.
Imagine you're at the beach, celebrating with your family, when suddenly gunshots ring out. People are screaming, running, diving for cover. Most people would hide. Most people would run. But one man did the opposite. He charged straight at a gunman, wrestled the weapon from his hands, and saved countless lives. And he paid the price with 2 bullets in his body. This is his story. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Vault Files. I'm your host, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button because this is where we uncover the truth behind the headlines. We're all about bringing you the facts, the context, and the stories that actually matter. And today's story, this one hit different. So before we get into today's video, if you haven't seen my previous upload where I broke down the entire Bondi Beach terrorist attack, the timeline, the attackers, what led up to that horrific day, and how it all unfolded, I'll link that video right up in the corner and in the description below. Today, we're focusing on one specific part of that tragedy, but it's arguably the most important part. We're talking about the man who stopped one of the gunmen. The man who, in the middle of absolute chaos, made a split-second decision that saved dozens of lives. The man they're now calling the Bondi Beach hero. His name is Ahmed al Ahmed, and what he did deserves to be remembered forever. Let's get into it. All right, so let's set the scene. It's Sunday evening, December 14th, 2025, at Bondi Beach in Sydney, Australia. Now, if you know anything about Bondi Beach, you know it's one of the most famous beaches in the world. Iconic, beautiful, a place where people go to relax and enjoy life. On this particular evening, over 1,000 people had gathered there for a Hanukkah celebration, the first night of the Jewish holiday. Families, children, people coming together to celebrate their faith and culture in a public space. And then, terror struck. Multiple gunmen opened fire on the crowd. As I explained in my previous video, this was a coordinated terrorist attack specifically designed to target Jewish people during a religious celebration. 11 innocent lives were lost that day. But here's where Ahmed's story begins. While everyone else was understandably running for their lives, trying to find cover, trying to protect their loved ones, Ahmed did something extraordinary. Verified video footage shows him crouching behind a parked car, watching one of the armed shooters. And then he makes his move. He rushes the gunman from behind. There's a struggle, you can see it in the footage, and Ahmed manages to wrestle the weapon right out of his hands. The gunman backs away, and Ahmed immediately secures the weapon, placing it beside a palm tree where it can't be used to hurt anyone else. One gun, one terrorist. Neutralized. But the danger wasn't over. The video shows a second gunman still firing from a bridge nearby. And during this entire confrontation, while Ahmed was fighting to disarm the first shooter, he was shot twice. Let that sink in. So who is Ahmed al Ahmed? This is where the story gets even more powerful, because Ahmed isn't some action hero. He's not a police officer, not military, not security personnel. He's a regular guy, a fruit shop owner, a husband, a father. His cousin spoke to Australian media and said something that really hits home. He's a hero, 100% he's a hero. And the officials agree. New South Wales Premier Chris Minns didn't hold back. He called Ahmed a genuine hero and said, and I quote, "I've got no doubt there are many, many people alive tonight as a result of his bravery." Many, many people. Think about what that means. We're talking about potentially dozens of lives saved because one ordinary man made an extraordinary choice. Ahmed is currently in the hospital recovering from his gunshot wounds. He literally took bullets while saving others. That's not just bravery, that's sacrifice. Now let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture here. This attack was absolutely devastating. 11 people murdered in what authorities have officially declared a terrorist act targeting Jewish people during a religious celebration. It was fueled by hatred, by anti-Semitism, by evil intent. And it became the deadliest shooting in Australia since the Port Arthur massacre back in 1996. That's almost 30 years. Australia has some of the strictest gun laws in the world after that tragedy, and yet this still happened. But here's what I want you to take away from this. In the face of that darkness, in the face of that hatred, Ahmed al Ahmed represents something that evil can never extinguish: human courage and the willingness to stand up for others. He didn't know these people. He wasn't obligated to do anything. He could have hidden like anyone else. But when he saw someone with a gun threatening innocent lives, something inside him said, "Not today." And let's be real about what that cost him. He's in a hospital bed right now with 2 gunshot wounds. This wasn't a movie. There was no script. He didn't know he was going to survive. He acted anyway. That's what true heroism looks like. It's not the absence of fear. It's courage in spite of the fear. Look, we live in a world where bad news dominates the headlines, where acts of terror and hatred seem to be becoming more common, where it's easy to lose faith in humanity. But then someone like Ahmed al Ahmed comes along and reminds us that for every act of evil, there were people willing to stand against it. For every person who chooses hate, there are people who choose to protect others at their own expense. The investigation into this attack is ongoing. Authorities are still working to piece together every detail, to understand the motivations, to ensure justice is served. But one thing will never be in question: Ahmed al Ahmed saved lives that day. Period. So if you found this story as powerful as I did, do me a favor, hit that like button, share this video, and let's make sure Ahmed's story gets the recognition it deserves. Heroes like this shouldn't go unnoticed. And again, if you haven't watched my previous video where I broke down the full Bondi Beach incident, that link is right there. Go check it out for the complete story. Subscribe to the Vault Files if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss future uploads, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe out there, everyone.